Just to recap, we've gone from drawing, especially necessary if it's more complicated, then we've gone to a quick comp where we just make sure that the package works, find out what's not working, like we found out last time that this part could be a little bit longer, and now we are going to try to do it without these black lines. And one of the best ways that I've found to do that is to just make two separate printouts. One that has the graphics that you need, and then one that has the information to help you construct it. Now what you want to do is make sure, first of all, that you don't get this flipped around. And that's what one of the things that having the registration marks. Don't try to put those perfectly like the same distance in every corner. Kind of get a little bit like sloppy or creative with your crop lines so that you make sure that you do indeed have everything in the right spots, which looks like I don't. So that's the correct way there. Now, you might be thinking, well, why do I need these? Why can't I just line the papers up perfectly with each other? And if you've got a really accurate, good printer and you're doing everything from the same printer, you might be able to. But a lot of times what happens is you end up printing this on one printer because it's very high quality and you may even have to pay for the print, but then you do this print on a cheaper printer, and then it's super important to have the registration marks. Then what I usually do is put this up against the window or a light box so that I can line up the marks. If the paper in the back is so thick that you can't see the marks, what often helps is to take a pin and put them through each of them, and then you can line up the marks with a pen stuck into them. What I like to do as well is cut a little bit off of the top one so that I can get a good connection on it with a piece of tape. So I might do something like this at the very top, cut that off like that, then put this back on here like that. And then what I'm going to do is take my time, make sure everything is lined up properly. And it's well worth your effort to go very slow on this and make sure that everything is lined up as good as can possibly be. And then once you get it exactly where it should be, which will take a little bit of finessing, you can see it's not exactly the edges of the paper, but kind of close to that. Then what I like to do is just take some scrap tape, like just regular masking tape, and get a good join here. Being careful not to put this tape anywhere that's critical, because it will affect how you put the creases in the work. Then to keep it from sliding the other way, I can also put, cut this part off, but there's quite a bit here that needs to be worked with. So what I can do in that case is use some double-sided tape. And again, I just want to make sure that that's not going to be part of where the graphics are later, none of the critical spots. But as many of these double-sided tapes as I can put in here just to keep this from sliding around when I cut and I score, it will just make the work that much better and more accurate. Now the next step is going to be just like we did before with the cutting and the scoring first, but we want to, now we're scoring on the black lines just like we did before, but we want it to go all the way through. We need to know that we can see those coming all the way through, and a good way to do that is to turn this upside down, put it into the light, and if you see a mark going through, you know that you're good. So the steps would be, I place this everywhere that there's a fold. So in this case, 1, 2, 3, 4 areas going this way. Then we got 5, 6, 7, 8, and then there's 9 and 10. I'm going to score all of those turn this upside down when I've done all that. Make sure there's a score mark everywhere there should be. In other words, I should really be able to see that thing coming together except for the outsides of it. Then what I'm gonna do is just cut through, and especially if your back piece is a very thick piece of paper, don't try to do it all in one go. You don't even have to cut through the first paper in your first try. As long as you have the ruler firmly placed, the nature of the X-Acto knife is going to be to follow the same mark. So it's not uncommon to make 3 cuts just to get through thin paper and many more to get through thicker paper. And then you're just extremely taking your time, being as accurate as you possibly can be. You're going to repeat this for every outside edge of your work until the work comes apart. And then it's going to be just like I did in the early video, where we go to every crease that we made, put the ruler down, work the paper from this side, turn it around, put the ruler down, work it from that side, then go through, do it by hand a couple times, and you put it together and you look for areas that could need improvement, and you keep repeating until you end up with something that is crafted that looks just as good as a professional product on the shelf. In fact, probably better, because you did it.